Welcome back to our channel. Today, I want to tell you a story that will change the way you look at the people around you. When I moved into my new neighborhood, there was one house that everyone talked about. The strange thing was, no one had ever seen the man who lived there leave his home. Day after day, week after week, the curtains stayed closed, the front door never opened, and the silence only made the mystery deeper. But what I discovered behind that closed door wasn't something scary, it was something heartbreaking. The neighbors called him Mr. Carter. They all had different stories about him. Some believed he was dangerous, others thought he simply hated people. A few even said he hadn't stepped outside for years. Every evening, I noticed the curtain move slightly, as if someone inside was quietly watching the world pass by. His mailbox was never full, his lawn was always neatly trimmed, yet no one ever saw him doing any of it. The mystery only made people judge him even more, but I couldn't stop wondering what kind of pain could keep a person hidden for so long. Instead of believing the rumors, I decided to do something simple. Every morning as I left for work, I smiled and waved toward his window. For nearly 2 weeks, nothing happened. Then, one cold morning, I noticed the curtain move slightly, and for just a second, an old hand slowly waved back at me. It was a tiny gesture, but somehow it felt like the beginning of a conversation that had been waiting for years. The following weekend, I baked a small batch of homemade cookies. I placed them carefully on his doorstep with a short handwritten note. It said, "Hi, I'm your new neighbor. No pressure to reply. I just wanted to wish you a peaceful day." Then I quietly walked away. I wasn't expecting anything in return. Sometimes kindness is most powerful when it expects nothing back. 3 days later, I opened my front door and found the empty plate sitting neatly on my porch. On top of it was a folded piece of paper. It read, "Thank you. These cookies reminded me of my wife. It's been a very long time since someone knocked on my door." That single sentence stayed in my mind all day. Behind the rumors, behind the silence, and behind the closed door was not an angry man. There was simply a lonely heart carrying years of grief. From that moment, we started exchanging little notes. Sometimes I left him fresh bread or flowers from my garden. Sometimes he shared short stories about his younger days. He told me how he and his wife had traveled across the country, dreamed together, laughed together, and built the little house next to mine with their own hands. Every note revealed another beautiful memory, but every memory also carried the pain of losing the person he loved most. One evening, he finally trusted me enough to tell me the whole truth. His wife had passed away after a long illness several years earlier. After her funeral, every place outside reminded him of her. The park where they walked together, the cafe where they drank coffee every Sunday. Even the grocery store reminded him of their ordinary conversations. Little by little, leaving the house became more painful than staying inside. 1 week turned into 1 month. 1 month became 1 year. Before he realized it, he had spent years hiding from a world that constantly reminded him of what he had lost. Listening to his story completely changed the way I looked at people. I realized how often we judge someone without knowing anything about their life. We call people rude because they don't smile. We call them unfriendly because they stay quiet. We assume they don't care, when in reality they may simply be carrying pain that words cannot describe. Every person is fighting a battle we know nothing about. A few days later, I invited Mr. Carter to sit with me in the garden for just 10 minutes. At first, he refused. Then he stood at the doorway for several minutes without moving. I could see fear in his eyes. Finally, he took one slow step outside. The sunlight touched his face for the first time in what felt like forever.
He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and quietly smiled. 10 minutes turned into an hour as we talked about life, memories, hope, and the future. He didn't change overnight. Some days he still stayed inside. Other days he managed a short walk around the block. But every small step became a victory. Week after week, his confidence slowly returned. Soon, the neighbors who once feared him began greeting him with warm smiles. Children waved as they rode their bicycles past his house, and for the first time in years, he waved back.
One afternoon, I asked him what had finally given him the courage to open that front door. He looked at me, smiled gently, and said, "You never treated me like I was broken. You simply reminded me that I was still worth remembering." Those words touched my heart because so many people aren't waiting for someone to solve their problems. They're simply waiting for someone to notice they exist. Life has taught me one unforgettable lesson. Every person you meet has a story hidden beneath the surface. Before you judge someone for being quiet, distant, or different, remember that kindness can reach places where words never can. A simple smile, a friendly greeting, or a small act of compassion might become the reason someone chooses hope over loneliness. Mr. Carter's life didn't change because time healed him. It changed because one person chose kindness instead of judgment. And perhaps that's the greatest lesson of all. You may never know what someone is going through, but your kindness could be the light that helps them open a door they've been too afraid to open for years.